CEOs, both American and Chinese, gathered here. One of them is Jim Rogers, the CEO of Duke Energy. He just came off of speaking on a panel about cities and how to make them prosper. He also this week, Duke Energy, signed a partnership with a Chinese firm, an eco-partnership. Speaking of China, #1 energy consumer, do you expect that demand to continue to explode going forward?
Absolutely. China has an economic imperative in order to provide electricity to all the people and businesses in the country. So they are building significant number of new power plants in order to provide electricity. They recognize that in order to have prosperity in the country, they have to provide access to electricity.
Part of oil's rise to $100 a barrel, north of that, has been booming demand from emerging markets like China. Do you continue to see prices staying at these very high levels, $100 plus?
I believe that the price will remain high, but it was high once before and fell. So it's very difficult to predict the future of oil prices. But both China and the U.S. need economic security and energy security. So over time, both countries are going to have a plan to wean themselves from the use of foreign oil.
When is the United States going to have such a crucial energy plan?
I don't think it's going to happen in this session of Congress, but I believe over time we have to put a policy together. We talk about it all the time, but we don't do anything about it. So we need to go to work and come up with a plan that will allow us to grow our economy, provide jobs to our people, and also meet our environmental goals.
One thing I want to ask you about, there's a proposed legislation this week, a corporate tax holiday on repatriated profits. This is something you support, but the question is, why? Why now would you support something that would burden taxpayers something north of $70 billion, according to the report?
But the important thing about repatriation is it will allow multinational companies to bring back to the United States their cash and reinvest it in businesses here, in job creation in the U.S. And the way the current structure is, it's an impediment to reinvest in the U.S. So as a consequence, many companies keep their cash offshore and reinvest in other countries, creating jobs there. We should take this out of our tax law so that we can facilitate this cash and capital coming back to our country at a time when we need it to reinvest and rebuild our economy, rebuild our infrastructure.
Well, the criticism to that would be that these corporations would just use it to raise dividends and entice investors and shareholders.
I think we can structure this Repatriation Act in a way that requires us to reinvest it so we create jobs. In our case, we need to invest in smart grid. We've retired, replacing our plants. We need to build new plants to provide electricity. So all of this needs to get done. And this additional capital, if we can bring it back, will be used for those purposes.
Nuclear energy. You have announced that you plan to press ahead. You're one of the top 3 nuclear energy producers in this country, despite the disaster of Fukushima in Japan. Why?
Importantly, we have to learn from the incident in Japan, and we will learn from it. And we will be better because of it, because embedded deep in our culture is safety and continuous learning. So I believe we will learn and be safer for it. But that's why I am confident that the nuclear industry and our company specifically will move forward in the United States, because it's critical to supplying electricity 24/7 with zero greenhouse gases and no other pollutants.